Wow, let me welcome you once again to the 5 day speaker challenge. And today we are on day two. My name is Katina Chivasa, and I'm here in New Zealand. It's quite early in the morning here in New Zealand because of the time zones. I don't know what time it is in your nations. Let me just say welcome. Uh, as a single mother, there is always so much to do. There's so much unimaginable stress that we can face from working, trying to balance work, and really trying to pursue excellence in my own work as a registered nurse or as an infection prevention and control. I do own a business in infection prevention and control. Um, it is hard to balance that with coming home and having to cook for my kids and also having to do homework, providing them with spiritual guidance or spiritual leadership, moral support or emotional support, taking them out and making sure they have everything that they need. That can cause a lot of stress. On top of also being a lifestyle minister or lifestyle preacher, where I believe in, I gotta minister and preach with my own lifestyle, but also I take time to actually uh, do some spiritual leadership through the ministry that I run on social media, and also when we don't have COVID-19 restrictions around us, Advocate KC Ministries. And people call me Advocate KC because I do advocate for the truth, and that truth is Jesus. And without Jesus, I am nothing. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now had it not be for Jesus. And so I just want to thank God. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice. Let us always rejoice and be glad in the fact that I'm here right now and I'm speaking to you. I do hope and pray that the little that I'll share with you will empower somebody. It will minister to somebody. It will inspire somebody. It will empower somebody. My story, and there is a lot of stories that I could tell. But what I can say right now is sometimes we tend to overdo things and then we wonder where our stresses are coming from. We need to find a balance and live a sensible lifestyle. How did I manage to find my balance as a single mother, as a lifestyle preacher, as a radio broadcaster, radio DJ? That's one of the things that I do, where I'm speaking for like 3 hours times two per week on an international radio called Radio 54 African Panorama. You will hear me on Thursdays and Saturdays on there. I also, on top of that, have my two kids, like I've already mentioned. That's not easy, trying to balance work, family, children, and I also have to look after me. And this is where I have learned because of my past experiences, which I do hope that my story and how I managed to pull through life, all the obstacles that I experienced along the way for me to be the person that I am today. I hope that that will inspire somebody today. Like I said, I grew up in Zimbabwe. So I'm originally from Zimbabwe. I'm sure you can all tell from the accent, even though it's a little bit messed up now. But what we experience in life is not there to harm us. If we can recognize the beauty of what comes out of it, if we pull through, and we have to pray for strength for that. And that's how I made it in life. I grew up in a very, very abusive home back in Zimbabwe, and watching my mother being abused in front of us, being beaten in front of us, that was not good at all. And I remember the only thing I ever wished for was to say, I want to finish school and get a good job and look after my mother and do good things. I don't want to ever live my life the way I am watching my life and my mother being treated right here, right now. But you don't really know what could happen with you as you grow up. So I ended up running away from home at 17 because of my father's abuse. His abuse. He didn't want me to finish my high school, so I ran away from home just so I could finish a high school, and I'm glad I did. That's one of the things that I'll never regret. And I became possibly the first young person in Africa, or rather in Zimbabwe. I don't know about any other African country where a child at 17-year-old ever got a protection order, a peace order for her father. I had to. And I'm so thankful for that because I managed to get myself into nursing school, even though my idea was to become a an accountant, something to do with business studies. But now, my testimony for everybody is that I'm now in business. I'm having to use some of the um, experiences or some of the qualifications that I had from high school is in accounting, mathematics, and management of business. I'm managing my own business now, and I'm so thankful for that. But how am I managing the stresses of my everyday life? Like I said, I grew up in an abusive home and I ran away from home. Life was not easy. I experienced a lot of abuse along the way. You can imagine a 17-year-old, innocent 17-year-old. I experienced a lot of what I would call sexual abuse and some things that you would not want anybody to experience because I didn't have that moral support from parents or that parental guidance. I knew nothing. I was just an innocent 17-year-old. So moving on from there, taking myself to school. But let's fast forward. I managed to make it to New Zealand. I already had one child, and I'm thankful for that because that grounded me into becoming the person that I am right now. In 2019, here I am. Life is good as a registered nurse here in New Zealand, but I experienced an abusive relationship where I hit bottom hard rock, and I had to be reminded of all the past experiences that I had had. But most of all, I got reminded of one thing, one thing that got me going: running. Jesus and running. And I had to really get my act together because I suffered from some emotional strongholds of guilt, of depression, anxiety, and what I call emotional strongholds because they make you feel like you're stagnant, you become hopeless, you feel like you can't move on. On top of all these other responsibilities that I have, that I already have. So running became that antidote to everyday's life. You may be going through some family violence right now, some abuse. One thing that I've learned in my life is speak up, get help. I got help, but most of all, I also helped myself. I could have gone into antidepressants. I could have gone into uh, uh, having to take anti-anxiety drugs, but I said running is the thing, is my thing. I would like to keep running with Jesus. It's not easy to run. Like I said, just the same way that I've spoken about my life, running comes with a lot of perseverance, motivation, training, and a lot of other things, which I would like to continue talking about. But for today, I will end here and let me just say thank you so much for coming. Thank you for joining me.